Hi, today we are in the Lost Art Press shop talking about marking knives and what I think is important about them. And my preferences are a little bit different than Chris's preferences, so I am going to tell you why he's wrong. I have in front of me a wide array of knives. Most of these are in fact mine. I might have a little bit of a marking knife problem, but there are worse things in the world. So all of the ones that are mine in this collection, I'm lying, not that one. All of these are what are called double bevel marking knives, and this is my preferred style of knife. The reason I like these is because they have a flat side and they have a double bevel on this side, and that allows me to get all the way into the corners and mark when I'm doing dovetails, for example, with either side of this blade. What is also important to me is that the blade is not terribly flexible. This one, this beautiful blue one, an early one by Dave Jeske when he was owner of Blue Spruce Toolworks, I bought it because it's blue. I know that's a massive surprise to everyone watching this, but I never actually use it because the blade is really flexible, and I don't like that in a marking knife. The other one here that is very flexible, not quite that flexible though, is this one from Veritas. I do actually like this one, but more because it doesn't cost very much, so if a student inadvertently walks off with it, or it gets broken, or I leave it somewhere, it's not the end of the world. I think when I first bought these, they were like 14 bucks. Now they're about 20. But this is, to me, while not disposable, at least I won't cry if it disappears on me. But I don't love using it because of that flex, and I'll show you why in a second. But the nice thing about taking this one on the road with me for travel is that because I don't like it and it is flexible, if my dovetails end up looking like crap, at least I have a good excuse. Let's move into the bench, and I want to take a look at these blades here and why I think the narrow blade is important and what that flat and bevel side gets you, especially when marking dovetails. And then we're going to look at the problem, at least in my opinion, with some of these other marking knives and why I don't like them. I am here at my bench. I have some dovetails set up, and these are fairly wide openings for a small box. If I were doing, say, London pattern dovetails with almost no opening up there, what I'm about to say would be even more relevant, I think. So with this thin knife, this thin blade, flat on one side, it's very easy for me to get in here against the tail, drop that point down, and then just pull back a few times, but this is not a dovetail lesson, so we'll ignore that part, to mark the transfer. And then, with that flat blade, I can just march my way down each side and not have to flip it over. I can flip it over now, though, to mark the other side of each one. And again, I just march my way down. If you have a knife that only has the bevel on one side, you have to flip it each time you mark because only one side of that blade will cut. And that we can see with this blade here. This is technically a dental molding knife, and I use it for cutting some relief bits on dovetails, but I know people who use it as a marking knife. The problem with this one as a marking knife is that it doesn't have a flat side. So how do I know that I am up against the tail every time? I don't really. I can go in and use only the point, but that doesn't give me a lot of bearing surface on the side of the tail to get a good mark. And if I were to rest the top of the blade or the full blade against the side of the tail, I don't actually know that I am flat to the tail. I can't tell if I'm getting a good mark or not, because as you can see, this is thicker at the top than at the bottom. So it's really not great for that purpose. The blade is long enough, though, to get in between this small opening. However, I'm going to reach over here and grab a different knife. Same problem, lovely knife, but same problem with it doesn't have a flat side, so I really don't have a lot of reference surface. Also, this one has a really big handle, so for me, that's a no-no because I have small hands. But also, it's a little bit hard to get into deep declivities if I don't have a very long blade. So for a number of reasons, I don't love this one as a marking knife. What I do like about all three of these is that the blade isn't very flexible. So for other purposes, I think they're pretty good. But for me, the best kind of marking knife for dovetails at least, and I cut a lot of them, is a double bevel. And if I had to choose right now, these days, let's go look at my array again, I would probably choose one of the ones from Benchcrafted. They bought Bob Zychek's Check Edge Tool Works, and they are now making them themselves. This one is an old one from Bob Zychek. You might be wondering about the rubber band. That's so that it gets caught in my tool rack and doesn't fall all the way through and break. All these ones with blue dots on them are mine. I love my old Check Edge one. My favorite one for a very long time, well, and still, frankly, but you can't get it anymore, is my old Blue Spruce one. Well, okay, I have two of them, two of my old Blue Spruce ones. This is the first nice tool I ever bought, so of course I love it. But you can't get this exact knife anymore. These days, Blue Spruce, which is owned by Woodpeckers, is making this kit that's interchangeable with a more flexible blade, and I'm just not very fond of it. Also, I like buying from a smaller manufacturer or maker, somebody I know, and that's a personal thing. I don't expect everybody to buy based on that. So, for me, I would probably buy the Check Edge from Benchcrafted, and in fact, this is one of theirs, as is this one. I like the smaller one simply because my hands are smaller. You can get this in steel and carbide. I don't think the carbide gets you very much. I would just buy the steel. It's easier to sharpen. So this right here is the crazy large set from Blue Spruce Toolworks / Woodpeckers right now. And in fact, it does come with some not as flexible blades. These two aren't very flexible, so I would like them, except that they're a little on the big side if you compare this with my preferred one. That's probably just a personal preference and me being stubborn and liking what I like. There's probably nothing wrong with this, but this is just too much stuff going on, and I don't want to switch things out all the time. I don't particularly love multi-use tools. I like a single-use tool. These are great, but again, I'd rather buy from a smaller maker, so personal preference there. So Chris is on vacation in the wilds of, I don't know, somewhere up around the Great Lakes right now, and I texted him to find out why he likes a flexible knife, if he has an actual defense for this, or if he's just being obstreperous. And I still think that last thing might be the real answer. He just doesn't want to agree with me, but I don't want to agree with him either. He says, I like a flexible knife because when it is bent slightly, I know that the flat part is against the tail of my tailboard. That is my official statement. Well, my official statement is that I don't have any trouble seeing when the flat part is against my tailboard with a stiff knife, and that's my official statement. And since this is my video, we all know that I am, of course, right.